Hello, friends. So glad to join you all on this chilly evening. Regardless of the weather, might be like where you're at. It's always a good time to cozy up with some great literature and your favorite beverage of choice. I want to come back with you all with some of these classic poetries from this beautiful collection that I have. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And we're starting off strong with Each and All by the great Ralph Waldo Emerson. Life thinks in the field, yon red-cloaked clown, of thee from the hilltop looking down. The heifer that lows in the upland farm, far heard, lows not die near the charm. The sexton tolling his bell at noon, deems not that great Napoleon stops his horse and lists with delight, whilst his files sweep around you yon alpine height. Nor knowest thou what argument thy life to thy neighbour's creed is lent. All are needed by each one, nothing is fair or good alone. I thought the sparrow's note from heaven, singing at dawn on the alder bough. I brought him home in his nest at even. He sings the song, but it cheers not now. For I did not bring home the river and sky. He sang to my ear, they sing to my eye. The delicate shells lay on the shore, the bubbles of the latest wave, fresh pearls to the enamel gave, and the bellowing of the savage sea greeted their safe escape to me. I wiped away the weeds and foam, I fetched my sea-born treasures home, but the poor unsightly noisome things had left their beauty on the shore, with the sun and the sand and the wild uproar. The lover watched his graceful maid, as mid the virgin train she strayed, nor knew her beauty's best attire was woven still by the snow-white choir. At last she came to his hermitage. Like the bird from the woodlands to the cage, the gay enchantment was undone, a gentle wife, but fairy none. Then I said, I covet truth, beauty is unripe childhood's cheat, I leave it behind with the games of youth. As I spoke, beneath my feet, the ground pine curled its pretty wreath, running over the club moss burrs. I inhaled the violet's breath, around me the oaks and firs, pine cones and acorns lay on the ground, over me soared the eternal sky, full of light and of deity. And I saw, again I heard, the rolling river, the morning bird, beauty through my senses stole. I yielded myself to the perfect whole. This next one is also by Ralph Waldo Emerson, the Rhodora, on being asked, whence is the flower? In May, when sea winds pierced our solitudes, I found the fresh Rhodora in the woods, spreading its leafless blooms in the damp nook, to please the desert and the sluggish brook. The purple petals fallen in the pool made the black water with their beauty gay. Here might the redbird come his plumes to cool, and court the flower that cheapens his array. Rhodora, if the sages ask thee why this charm is wasted on the earth and sky, tell them, dear, that if eyes were made for seeing, then beauty is its own excuse for being. Why thou wert there, O rival of the rose, I never thought to ask, I never knew. But to my simple ignorance suppose, the self-same power what brought me there brought you. This next one is one probably many of you have heard, a real classic among classics, by Alfred Tennyson, Charge of the Light Brigade. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said, into the valley of death the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldiers knew someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well, into the jaws of death, into the mouths of hell, rode the 600. Flashed all their sabres bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabring the gunners there, charging an army, while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the sabre stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. That they had fought so well, came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell, all that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made! All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made! Honor the Light Brigade! Noble 600! This next one is The House by the Side of the Road by Sam Walter Foss. It starts with this quote: "He was a friend to man, and he lived in a house by the side of the road," by the great Homer. And hence goes the poem. There are hermit souls that live withdrawn in the place of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in a fellowless firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze their paths where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in a house by the side of the road where the race of men go by. The men who are good and the men who are bad, as good and as bad as I. I would not sit in the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press with the ardor of hope, the men who are faint with the strife. But I turn not away from their smiles nor their tears, both parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I know there are brook-gladdened meadows ahead, mountains of wearisome height, that the road passes on through the long afternoon and stretches away to the night. But still I rejoice when the travelers rejoice and weep with the strangers that moan, nor live in my house by the side of the road like a man who dwells alone. Let me live in my house by the side of the road. It's here the race of men go by. They are good, they are bad, they are weak, they are strong, wise, foolish, so am I. Then why should I sit in the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban? Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. This next one is I Have a Rendezvous with Death by Alan Seeger. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade, and spring comes round with rustling shade, and apple blossoms fill the air. I have a rendezvous with death, when spring brings back blue days and fair. And maybe he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land, and close my eyes and quench my breath. And maybe I shall pass him still. I have a rendezvous with death, on some scarred slope of battered hill, when spring comes round again this year, and the first meadow flowers appear. God knows they're better to be deep, pillowed in silk and scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep, pulse nigh to pulse and breath to breath, where hushed awakenings are death. But I've a rendezvous with death at midnight in some flaming town, when spring trips north again this year, and I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous. Here is another classic among classics, O Captain, My Captain, by the wonderful Walt Whitman. O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people are exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But O heart, 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 O the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my Captain lies, fallen cold and dead. O Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells, rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you bouquets and ribbon wreaths, for you the shores are crowding, For you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse or will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object won. Exalt, O shores, and ring, O bells! But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. I now give you The Chamber Nautilus by Oliver Wendell Holmes. This is the ship of pearl which poets feign sails the unshadowed main. The venturous bark that flings on the sweet summer wind its purple wings, and gulfs enchanted where the siren sings, and coral leaves lie bare, where the cold sea maids rise to sun their streaming hair. Its web of living gauze no more unfurl, wrecked is the ship of pearl, in every chambered cell where its dim dreaming life was wont to dwell, as the frail tenant shaped his growing shell, before thee lies revealed, its rise ceiling rent, its sunless crypt unsealed. Year after year the silent toil that spread his lustrous coil, still as the spiral grew, he left the past year's dwelling for the new, stole with soft step its shining archway through, built up its idle door, stretched in his last found home, and knew the old no more. Thanks for the heavenly message brought by thee, child of the wandering sea, cast from her lap, forlorn. From thy dead lips a clearer note is born than ever Triton blew from wreathed horn, while on mine ear it rings. Through the deep caves of thought I heard a voice that sings. Build thee more stately mansions, O my soul, as the swift seasons roll. Leave thy low vaulted past. Let each new temple nobler than the last shut deep from heaven with a dome more vast, till thou at length art free, leaving thine outgrown shell by life's unresting sea. And we continue on with The Daffodils by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a cloud, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched a never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid their sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and in my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. Next is Little Boy Blue by Eugene Field. The little toy dog is covered with dust, but sturdy and starched he stands, and the little toy soldier is red with rust, and his musket molds in his hands. Time was when the little toy dog was new, and the soldier was passing fair, and that was the time when a little boy blue kissed him and put them there. Now don't you go till I come, he said, and don't you make any noise. So toddling off to his trundle bed, he dreamt of the pretty toys, and as he was dreaming, an angel's song awakened a little boy blue. And oh, the years are many, the years are long, but the little toy friends are true. Aye, faithful to little boy blue they stand, each in the same old place, awaiting the touch of a little hand, the smile of a little face. And they wonder as, waiting these long years through, in the dust of that little chair, what has become of a little boy blue since he kissed them and put them there. That poem really makes me think of Toy Story in a lot of ways. I'm going to close it out with being a little rowdy with this Ode to the West Wind by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Percy. O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven, like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing, yellow and black and pale and hectic red, pestilence-stricken multitudes. O thou who charitest to their dark wintry bed the winged seeds where they lie cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine azure sister of the spring shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth, and fill, driving sweet bloods like flocks to feed in air, with living hues and odors plain and hill. Wild spirit, which art moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, hear, O hear! Thou on whose stream, mid the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed, shook from the tangled bows of heaven and ocean, angels of rain and lightning, there are spread on the blue surface of thine airy surge, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce Maenad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height, the locks of the approaching storm. Thou dirge of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre, vaulted with all that congregated might of vapors, from whose solid atmosphere black rain and fire and hail will burst. O hear! Thou who didst waken from his summer dreams the blue Mediterranean, where he lay, lulled by the coil of his crystalline streams, beside a pumice isle and by his bay, and saw in sleep old palaces and towers, quivering within the waves' intenser day, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers so sweet, the sense faints picturing them. Thou for whose path the Atlantic's level powers cleave themselves into chasms, while far below the sea blooms in the oozy woods which wear the sapless forage of the ocean, know thy voice, and suddenly grow grey with fear, and tremble and despoil themselves. O hear! If I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free than thou, O uncontrollable. If even I were as in my boyhood, and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven, as when to outstrip thy sky's speed scarce seemed a vision, I would never have striven as thus with thee in prayer in my sore need. O lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud! I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed one too like thee, tameless and swift and proud. Make me like lyre, even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep, audible tone, sweet though in sadness. Be thou spirit fierce, my spirit, be thou me, impetuous one. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves to quicken a new birth. And by the incantation of this verse, scatter, as from an unextinguished hearth, ashes and sparks, my words among mankind. Beat through my lips to awaken earth the trumpet of a prophecy. O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Well, we got to enjoy such a wonderful array of poems there as we reflect on the timeless universal topics of living and dying, of growing and changing, of passing through time and interconnectedness that we have with one another. Regardless of what's going on in the world, may just we remember such themes. May we remember where peace lies. May we bring peace and new life to one another. I can't wait to join you all again soon for some more cozy readings on a winter night. Until then, stay safe and stay warm.